Hey everybody, so as of about yesterday, full self-driving on Teslas is actually a thing. Elon released a very limited beta of the full self-driving features in Teslas, and videos are making their way on Twitter and YouTube, and they're really impressive. Elon has been selling the promise of full self-driving for years now, for thousands of dollars as an option on his cars. But really, until yesterday, it wasn't actually full self-driving. Sure, we've had things like navigate on autopilot, which lets the cars change lanes on freeways by themselves. And we've also had very recent additions like the stoplight and stop sign control, which lets the cars react to those traffic control devices and actually stop the car. But until yesterday, the car couldn't actually steer itself on city streets or around obstacles. So this is a pretty big deal. Now that this autopilot rewrite is out in the real world, we'll actually see how the car can react to real world situations and whether full self-driving is actually a practical thing to expect. But with this new beta, Elon also announced that they are raising the price of the feature from the current $8,000 to a whopping $10,000. That is a lot of money when you consider that it's over 25% of the price of some of their cars, everything up to the all-wheel drive Model 3 in fact. So the question is, should you buy full self-driving at $8,000 or $10,000 even? Of course, this is my own opinion, so if you're the type of person that loves being on the edge of technology, having the absolute latest and greatest, and I absolutely understand that because I'm a techie myself, then this may not be relevant to you. You may just want to purchase it now anyways before it goes up in price. But for a lot of people, the question is full self-driving worth it? Like I mentioned, Elon has been selling the full self-driving feature for years, for thousands of dollars, and yet up until now, you really haven't been able to experience what full self-driving really is. And in that period of time, people may have even purchased FSD multiple times on multiple cars because they've gone through multiple leases or they've totaled their car and had to buy a new one. And sure, insurance may actually provide replacement value for your car, maybe you recoup some of that value when you do a private sale, but there's always some depreciation involved. And not only that, but over time, FSD has gone up in price. So if you sell the car privately and you won't recoup the entire cost of the car, including FSD, then you end up paying incrementally over time more for a feature that you never really had. But I think at this point it's safe to say that full self-driving will actually be a thing. We don't really know whether this will work well in horrible weather or in all conditions, but I think the videos circulating on YouTube and Twitter really prove that Tesla has nailed it this time. They actually have full self-driving in their cars, and in fact, your car may be able to drive you from home to work every single day. But that doesn't stop the fact that this is a $10,000 option. And so for the average person, is it worth it? In my opinion, I think it's a relatively high risk to buy full self-driving at this time still. This feature still is only a limited release beta, meaning that you're not even guaranteed to be able to use it when you purchase it for $8,000. Sure, it will come to you eventually, as it would if you purchased full self-driving a couple of years ago. But if you total your car or sell it, or if you have a lease, then the calculation changes a little bit. You have to consider whether the risk of paying for the full self-driving feature now is worth the reward, which is being able to use it whenever it does happen to come out. Elon has been saying this feature is going to be released for quite a while now. And in fact, he said that we would have a robo-taxi network by the end of this year, but that's clearly not going to be the case. Now let's consider what full self-driving is going to be like in the future and how much it'll end up costing. Elon has mentioned that full self-driving is a feature that will make your car appreciate. In theory, he believes that your Tesla will be able to autonomously drive itself around and ferry taxi passengers around and actually make you money. And so therefore, the full self-driving feature is actually worth up to maybe even $100,000. So in one scenario, Tesla could opt to eventually make the option a $100,000 option. So when you buy a $35,000 Model 3, you could pay an extra $100,000 to get full self-driving. Now, I don't necessarily believe that's actually going to be the case because Tesla actually has a greater opportunity. They can sell this as a subscription. Many companies nowadays are opting to go with the subscription model. That allows for the lifetime value of the customer to go up and increases your retention and revenue over time. So my value as a customer to a business actually will go up if they opt to use a subscription model for a service. Now, this has been very popular for things that even really shouldn't be subscriptions, things that don't actually add value over time. Maybe, an app that sits on your phone and doesn't actually change, say, for a couple updates over time. These companies are opting to switch to subscriptions in order to get more value out of their customers. And Elon has indicated that Tesla may be doing the same thing in the future. Imagine a time where you can actually just buy full self-driving on a per monthly basis. $10,000 or even more in the future is a lot of money for somebody to fork up. And even though you can roll that into the cost of your car loan if you purchase it when you actually purchase the car itself, many people have opted to wait. Obviously, because full self-driving hasn't been a thing for a while. So if a customer buys this single payment $10,000 option now, it's a very hard pill to swallow. But this gives Tesla an opportunity. They can go ahead and sell full self-driving as a $150 a month, $250 a month option on their car. And especially this becomes a better value proposition when you consider that Tesla is opting to move to a world where they can use their cars as robotaxis. So not only will you pay the $250 a month, but Tesla could also opt to charge you a specific percentage fee for the taxi miles that your Tesla drives. So all of these options are available to Tesla, and I do believe in the future that the subscription will be the course to go. Rather than recognizing revenue from a customer once, Tesla will be able to, on a recurring basis, have these monthly payments come in from thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. And this is an incredible revenue stream. It also makes it a little bit easier for consumers to swallow, even though $250 a month over a period of, however many years you keep your car, 10 years, 20 years, these cars are supposed to last, in theory, 1 million miles now, right? If you are paying that amount in perpetuity, then suddenly Tesla is able to get more value out of their full self-driving software. So that kind of brings us back to whether I believe the $10,000 or the $8,000 if you purchase it now is worth it. If you really want full self-driving, and you can recognize the limitations of full self-driving with the current sensor suite, which means that the car will very likely will not be able to drive itself in really bad weather or extreme conditions, and potentially even really high traffic situations like in the middle of a really busy city, then maybe you should buy it now. You're locking that price in, you get to use the feature in beta by the end of the year. Now, that being said, it is still a beta feature. So if you spend the $10,000 just to lock in your price now, and you don't want to use it until it's finalized, don't expect this feature to be finalized for potentially years. It's taken years for Tesla to get where they are today, and to really get full self-driving to the point where you can fall asleep and just really let the car drive you to your destination is going to take an absolutely massive amount of work, even more than what's been put in today. That last little bit of reliability, the last 1%, is potentially the most difficult. But you wouldn't get in a car that killed you 1% of the time. Now, of course, there is that risk. If you total your car, if you sell your car in the future and full self-driving actually raises in price, sure, you might be able to recoup some of that cost in either the insurance payout or in the third-party sale. However, there is going to be some depreciation associated with it. And sure, you can say maybe the car depreciated more and FSD maintains value. However you allocate that cost in your mind, it doesn't really matter. There is some depreciation involved. And the fact is that FSD is not a depreciating asset. It is a constantly evolving piece of software that doesn't actually technically need to live with the car. A lot of people have been asking Elon to tie full self-driving to a person. So I would buy full self-driving once, and it would go with me between my current Tesla, my next Tesla, and the Tesla after that. And so that would probably be more worth it. You could pay the $8,000 or $10,000 once, and you would be able to keep it for your entire lifetime. Now, that is exactly why Tesla will never do it, because it reduces the revenue. Tesla, as a company, wants to make money. And so therefore, by requiring you to buy it per car, by requiring you to purchase it over and over as you buy these new cars, they are able to make more money. And similarly with a subscription. I fully expect Tesla to roll out the monthly subscription option within the next year. After full self-driving has gone through the initial beta period, after they've really ironed out kind of those really nasty kinks, and when it works most of the time, you will still have to pay attention, but it'll be a more complete feature. At that point, I expect them to switch from the permanent model, where you just buy it once for the car, to a monthly subscription. Then they'll be able to recognize this revenue every single month. They will be able to attract more customers, and likewise, they will be able to gather more data. And so in fact, it's this vicious cycle. Once they have more customers, they get more data for their fleet, the option becomes better and it's able to drive itself in a more confident manner. You get more customers, and so on and so forth. And so once they have that critical mass, that's the point where Tesla's full self-driving, I think, will really kick off. You'll be able to get all the edge cases. You'll be able to drive in most every single condition that the car is physically able to drive in. I think there's a really exciting future ahead for full self-driving. I, like many other people, are just constantly refreshing social media sites, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, to find these videos of the few lucky people with the full self-driving beta. So far, I can say it really looks quite amazing for the number of sensors on the car. Companies like Cruise Automation and other LiDAR-based companies, Waymo, they have a massive, expensive sensor suite on their car, and Tesla is doing a pretty good job of driving the car by itself. And remember, this is just the first public release, with only a set of cameras and some radar and ultrasonics. That is absolutely incredible, and I'm really looking forward to see how it evolves. There's going to be some kinks. There will be some situations where people will have to take over. There will be situations like what we've had with autopilot, where somebody is a little bit overconfident and ends up getting in an accident. Those things will happen, but they shouldn't deter you from this technology. It will evolve. It's going to be an incredible technology for people with disabilities, people that aren't able to drive anymore because they've gotten too old. And overall, it will improve the safety of the roads for people that have Teslas and for those that don't. You can expect that a full self-driving Tesla will not crash itself into you. And that, along with the predictability of full self-driving when the machine is doing it, will enable everybody else to be safer on the road as well. So everybody really should be rooting for these full self-driving technologies. Whether or not you opt to purchase full self-driving, it's totally up to you. I am personally not going to buy it. I only have base autopilot in my car, but I will be looking forward to the point where it becomes a subscription model, where it's more widely released, so I can be more confident that I get value out of it. But until then, like I said, I'll really be watching closely on YouTube, on social media, and I'm rooting for Elon and all the engineers at Tesla. They have done an incredible job so far, and I am looking forward to see where they take it from here. Now, I am still working on my series of full self-driving videos. I'm working on setting up a better recording space. So if you're interested in how these systems actually work, check out my first video on full self-driving systems. It's a kind of general overview on how these types of systems work. I'm doing more in-depth videos on each of kind of the sub-areas of full self-driving, and those are coming soon and will be full of all of this new information that we're getting with this new full self-driving beta. So please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I will see you next time.